Okay, so for the next nutrition project, me and my roommates did pork schnitzel and parsley. Funny story, whenever we were going to buy the ingredients, we were walking out and we saw this really tall player or person, but he turned around and it was Euros, and we were just really surprised that he was just in Publix at 9 o'clock at night. It was just really funny. So for the history and culture, schnitzel is one of the most popular German foods, and the process of pounding the meat flat, breading, and frying dates back to the 1st century BC. Culinary historians have shown that the name schnitzel traces its roots from the word der Schnitz. Der Schnitz is a verb in the German language that refers to a slice or cut. And these in-text citations are from the I Like Germany article. I didn't find an author for it, so I just put it at the bottom of this. I hope that's okay. So for the nutrient compositions, one serving or one piece of the pork schnitzel contains 15 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat, 19 grams of protein, 220 calories. Also includes zero sugar and zero fiber. It is also a good source of vitamins B12 and B6. So the relationship to the disease is trichinosis. Pork products that are infected by a certain type of worm that are raw and undercooked can lead to risk of severe food poisoning called trichinosis once consumed. Some symptoms are chills, headaches, fever, irritated bowel, etc. Luckily, the risk of trichinosis is much lower with pork schnitzel as it is fried at high temperatures. So for the ingredients, we chose parsley because it was one that was grown. I know that the parsley was fresh because I bought it from the fresh vegetable aisle at Publix and then cooked it like maybe an hour later. Old parsley has an off smell and can become a weird color. So for the agriculture side of the parsley growing season begins in the late spring, early summer, and it can extend to the fall. Parsley is easily sustainable as it has low carbon footprint and little to no destruction to land. Parsley is grown every 3 to 5 years, so while there is no shortage in between those years, it is not the most abundant. So for the preparation, first we cut up the pork into thin slices and then pounded them with the meat mallet until it was thin. The next step was to get 3 bowls, one with flour, one with the spices, and the last one with the breadcrumbs, and put the pork in each of the bowls. So for the process of that, I put the pork first into the flour, and then into the spices with the egg wash, and the last one with the breadcrumbs. So next, we put vegetable oil in the pan, and we put the stove on medium heat for about 4 minutes on each side of the pork until we thought it would look good and that it wasn't squishy. And so for the last step, we put it on a plate and let it cool off, and then add the parsley. So for the tasting, the dish was surprisingly sweet. The spices, I think, made it sweet, probably. The breaded pork was really crispy. Schnitzel can be made not only with pork, but veal, beef, chicken, and more, and can be altered by any unique combination of seasonings. And here's a picture of the pork schnitzel, and the green stuff is a parsley, just to add some contrast to the picture and dish. So for the comparison, schnitzel is obviously popular in Germany and areas around there. But what surprised me is that it is most common, not most common, but common in the Midwest area. Country fried steak is probably the most comparable dish that I have had. They both have a little bit of crunch to them, and they look the same, usually on the outside, before you put the sauce on the country fried steak. And here are my references.